Hey there! Tonight, we're diving into the rich, monster-filled world of the Witcher saga, where mutants hunt beasts, kings scheme in shadows, and ancient prophecies collide with brutal reality. We'll trace the entire arc of Geralt of Rivia's journey across the three main games, from his amnesia-stricken beginnings to his epic quest for family amid wars and wild hunts. It's a tale of destiny, moral ambiguity, and the thin line between humans and horrors. If this kind of immersive lore helps you unwind or fuels your gaming passion, feel free to like if it resonates, but only if it sparks that Witcher spark in you. And I'd love to hear in the comments which Witcher game hooked you first. It's always fascinating to connect with fellow monster slayers out there and the Witcher 1, 2, 3 lore. We start with the continent's fractured kingdoms, where witchers like Geralt, genetically mutated monster hunters, navigate a world of elves, dwarves, and humans rife with prejudice and peril. Geralt, the White Wolf, emerges from near death with no memories, only to unravel conspiracies that threaten thrones and unleash ancient evils. As the story unfolds in Witcher 2, political assassinations ignite wars between nations like Temeria, Redania, and Nilfgaard, with Geralt at the center, piecing together his past while allying with sorceresses, spies, and rebels. The lore peaks in Witcher 3, where the Wild Hunt, a spectral force from another dimension, pursues Geralt's adopted daughter Ciri, whose elder blood holds the power to reshape realities. Amid side quests of haunted villages, cursed beasts, and romantic entanglements, themes of choice, consequence, and humanity shine through. Sapkowski's influence weaves in folklore-inspired monsters like Les Hens and Drowners, while game expansions add layers of vampire intrigue and fairy tale horrors. This Witcher 1, 2, 3 lore isn't just a recap. It's a gateway to a universe where every contract could end in betrayal, and redemption comes at a monstrous cost. Whether you're a book fan or game devotee, prepare for a narrative as twisted as a fiend's horns. Long before the swords of kings clashed over thrones or the screams of monsters echoed through fog-shrouded swamps, the continent slumbered under the watchful eyes of ancient races. Picture a world untouched by the clamor of human ambition. Gnomes, the clever inventors and jewelers, delved deep into the earth, their forges glowing with the fire of creation. Dwarves followed, sturdy folk who carved mighty holes into mountains, their axes ringing against stone as they claimed the highlands. Then came the elves, the Ainside, ethereal and timeless, gliding through silver-leaved forests on steeds of legend. They called this land their own, building spires that pierced the stars and weaving songs that bent the very fabric of magic. For millennia, harmony reigned, broken only by the whisper of wind through eternal woods, but harmony shattered in a cataclysm that scarred the multiverse itself, the conjunction of the spheres. Some 1500 years before the wars that would ravage Temeria and Nilfgaard, around the year 230 by the human reckoning, the spheres collided. Realms overlapped in a frenzy of rifts, tearing open portals across dimensions. Chaos, raw, primordial magic, flooded into the world, a gift and a curse that ignited sorcery in the veins of the living. Monsters poured through, ghouls with razor teeth scavenging graveyards, griveres bursting from soil to drag the unwary below, vampires stalking the night with hypnotic grace, bruxy shrieking hypnotic lullabies to lure prey, kikimores swarming in chitinous hordes, and countless others. Fiends, Les Hens, Drowners, creatures without ecological place, relics of alien worlds now infesting forests, bogs, and ruins. From these rifts stumbled new races. Halflings, merry and unassuming, found footholds in fertile valleys. Vroni warriors, werewolves, and the first humans, the Dork and Wazga peoples, refugees from a dying sphere, tumbled into the fray. Elven lore paints humans as barbaric invaders, short-lived vermin who seized chaos to forge spells and swords, multiplying like locusts. The elder races fought valiantly, but humans' ferocity and numbers overwhelmed them. Nordling humans arrived later in the first landing, settling coasts and pushing inward. Elves retreated to their dolmens and towers, dwarves to mountain fastnesses, their populations dwindling under pogroms and endless skirmishes. The continent transformed into a battleground of steel and sorcery, where magic users arose among humans, bending the new chaos to their will. Amid this carnage, kings and jarls grew desperate. Monsters devoured villages, toppled armies, and feasted on the unwary. Northern rulers beseeched mages for salvation. At Risberg, alchemists like Alza experimented, birthing the first witches, mutated warriors blending man and monster. These prototypes wielded crude magic but faltered. Banished, they founded the Order of Witches at Morgreg. Schisms fractured them, ushering the golden age of 6 grand schools. Wolf at Kaer Morhen, bear in the wilds, griffin in the sky's domain, viper's stealthy blades, cat's feral fury, and others lost to time. Witches became monster slayers for coin, neutral mercenaries upholding a code. Slay the beast, claim the reward, meddle not in politics. At the heart of the wolf school loomed Kaer Morhen, the keep of the Elder Sea, perched in Kedwen's blue mountains beside the Gwenlek River. Hewn from ancient stones fossilized with sea beasts, a remnant of a primordial ocean, it was accessible only via the killer, a treacherous trail. Here boys, orphans, stolen children, outcasts, underwent the trials. First, the trial of the grasses. Elixirs of rare herbs and mutagens forced down young throats, blistering flesh as cells rewrote themselves. 9 in 10 perished, convulsing in agony, organs liquefying. Survivors gained cat-like eyes for night vision, heightened senses to smell fear or magic, reflexes blurring swords to silver streaks. Further trials, changes, piled on, alchemical baths, viral infusions boosting strength, speed, endurance, healing. They learned signs, Ard to blast foes, Igni to ignite, Erden to trap, cast from innate chaos reservoirs. Sterility ensured no legacy. Libidos raged unfulfilled. Trained in dual swords, steel for men, silver for monsters. They donned wolf medallions that hummed near peril. By the 1160s, witches triumphed. Monsters receded, but paranoia bloomed. Churches decried them as abominations. Peasants stormed keeps. Kaer Morhen fell in 1194 to a mob led by mages, slaughtering witches and apprentices. Knowledge died with the last enchanters. No new mutants rose. Witches faded to legends, wintering at ruins, taking dwindling contracts. Into this twilight strode Geralt of Rivia, born around 1165 to Vicenna, a druidess sorceress, and a warrior father shrouded in mystery. Vicenna abandoned him at Kaer Morhen's gates, too wild for motherhood. Vesemir, the ancient wolf master, claimed him. Geralt endured the grass's young, surviving where elders failed. Pushed further, against warnings, he braved extra mutations, emerging the strongest. White hair earning Gwynblade, the White Wolf, unparalleled prowess, total poison immunity, pain defiance. Vesemir fathered him in spirit. Eskel became brother. They trained relentlessly, swords flashing in snow, potions brewed in caverns, signs hurled at straw dummies. Geralt proved at Elander's Temple of Melatel under Nennik and Assumpta, honing empathy amid piety. His first monster kill thrilled, but humanity soured him. Saving a girl from rapists, he slew the brute, only for father and victim to flee in terror, dubbing him Butcher. People linked by evil do evil together, he learned. Wandering, penniless, he slayed manticores, wyverns, chimeras, strigers, earning coin at crossroads posters. Witcher needed urgently. Fate twisted in rind, 1249. Fishing with Bard Jaskier, Dandelion, they unleashed a djinn from a sealed jar. Jaskier wounded, Geralt sought Yennefer of Vengerberg, hunchback sorceress remade by Aretuza, raven-haired tempest craving fertility. She healed the bard, demanding the seal for djinn power. Geralt refused, baiting Jaskier. Enchanted, he rampaged through town, waking chained. Yennefer ensnared the genie. As it raged, Geralt invoked his last wish. Bind our fates, you and I. Destinies knotted, djinn freed. They tumbled into passion, tumultuous, eternal. Reunions amid dragon hunts, betrayals, sodden battles forged love. You are my destiny, Witcher. Destiny doubled at Cintra. 1249 banquet. Geralt lifted hedgehog curse from Pavetta's suitor Duny via law of surprise. Unborn child his claim. Pavetta birthed Ciri, elder blood heir of elf Laradoran. Space-time powers, world-walking, apocalypse potential. Calanthe wed her guardians. Pavetta perished at sea. Nilfgaard raised Cintra 1263. Ciri fled, pursued by Emperor Imhir, her father Duny. Geralt invoked surprise again, claiming her from Saviour Urga. At Kaer Morhen, witches trained the Ashen Girl. Swords, signs, survival. Triss Merigold curbed her source outbursts. Yennefer mothered fiercely, mending traumas, teaching chaos mastery. Ciri idolized Geraltka as dad, Yen as mom. Family forged in blood, saga spiraled. Then Edku scattered them. Ciri fled through time, chased by wild hunt. Ainel riders seeking her womb. Geralt hunted relentlessly. Rivia Pogrom 1268 saw him shield non-humans. Mobs slaying him as Yennefer poured magic into his wounds. Boat-borne to mist-shrouded isle, presumed dead years later, 1270, Kaer Morhen folk fished a corpse from lake. Geralt, revived by unknown forces, amnesiac. Triss, Vesemir restored him. Salamandra bandits struck, stealing mutagens. Memory-shattered White Wolf plunged into Vizima's intrigues. Destiny's threads pulling towards Ciri anew. Thus began the game's saga, roots in elder cataclysms and unbreakable bonds. The mists of revival clung to Geralt like a second skin, cold and unrelenting, as consciousness clawed its way back into his battered body. Kaer Morhen's great hall enveloped him. Timber beams scarred by centuries of blade practice, the hearth's embers casting flickering shadows on wolf pelts and rusted trophies of forgotten hunts. Vesemir, his grizzled mentor with eyes like chipped flint, leaned over him, murmuring herbs and incantations. Eskel, broad-shouldered and scarred across the jaw, stoked the fire, while young Leo teared at his tunic in worry. Lambert, ever the cynic with a smirk hiding deeper scars, paced like a caged cat. They had fished him from the frozen lake below the keep. This white wolf washed ashore like driftwood from some netherworld voyage. No memories stirred, just echoes of pain, the tang of blood, and a void where his life should be. Triss Merigold arrived soon after, her auburn hair framing a face pale from the mountain chill, her sorceress robes whispering against stone. The witchers had unearthed ancient mutagens in the keep's cellars, vials of shimmering elixir promising to restart their dying order, to forge new mutants against the encroaching darkness. Triss examined them eagerly, her chaos-sensitive fingers tingling with potential. But Geralt's arrival shifted focus. She sensed fractures in his mind, a psyche shattered by whatever felled him. To jog his amnesia, they trained. Swords clashed in the snow-dusted yard, Geralt's blade a blur despite the fog in his skull. He parried Eskel's heavy strikes, dodged Lambert's feints, cast signs that crackled like summer lightning, Ard hurling dummies into walls, Igni scorching targets to ash. Flashes came, a riot in Rivia, non-humans screaming, Yennefer's violet eyes fierce in fury. But names and faces slipped away like river stones. Then came the attack. Dawn broke bloody over the blue mountains when Salamandra struck. Bandits in black and yellow cloaks, faces masked like plague doctors, wielding crossbows and alchemical fire. Led by the professor, a lean scholar with spectacles glinting coldly, and a cloaked mage hurling fireballs that lit the snow in orange blooms, they breached the killer trail. Chaos erupted. Arrows whistled, blades rang. Geralt, instincts overriding amnesia, fought like a demon, silver sword cleaving flesh, Quen shield shimmering against bolts. Leo fell, pierced through the chest, gurgling loyalty as he died in Vesemir's arms. Triss unleashed Axii on foes, bending minds to confusion, but the mage countered with a portal, vanishing with crates of mutagens. The witches repelled them, but the theft burned. Without those secrets, no new witches, no legacy. Vesemir's voice cracked like old leather. "Find them, Geralt. Take the trail to Vizima." Triss saw it in her vision. Salamandra's heart beats there. Weakened by her overexertion, Triss collapsed, fevered and convulsing from magical backlash. Geralt carried her to bed, her hand clutching his. "Be careful, wolf. The shadows hide more than bandits." He descended the killer alone, medallion humming warnings through pine-scented winds. Temeria's plains unfolded, golden fields scarred by war, villages huddled like frightened sheep. Vizima, the capital, loomed beyond a river, but plague quarantined its gates. The outskirts welcomed him with suspicion. Muddy paths winding past thatched hovels, the air thick with despair and the rot of unburied dead, harrowed refugees milled about, blaming elves and dwarves for the sickness. Geralt sought the local captain, a brute named Golan Vivaldi. No, wait, the dwarf banker? No, the guards under Reverend's sway. The Reverend, a fanatic in tattered robes, preached doom from a windmill pulpit, his flock armed with pitchforks. Ramsmeat's gang ruled the alleys, thugs extorting the weak. Granny, an old herbalist with rheumy eyes, brewed potions in her shack, her cat eyeing Geralt warily. First contract. Echinops plants in the fields, thorny horrors uprooting to lash with venomous spines. Geralt brewed claw potions for stamina, blade oiled with necrophage oil, hacking through fibrous hides until sap stained the earth black. Shunny entered like sunlight-piercing storm clouds, a medic student with freckles and boundless energy, her red hair tied back as she tended plague victims in a makeshift hospital. She slipped Geralt a rose, blushing. "You look like you've seen worse than fever." Together they raided the Reverend's stores for medicine, dodging cultists chanting about the end times. Choice loomed, ally with Ramsmeat for brute force or the Reverend for fanatic zeal. Geralt chose cunning, exposing the Reverend's plague-spreading scheme, poisoned grain to swell his flock. In the windmill showdown, fists flew. Geralt pummeled zealots, wrested confession. The captain, impressed, granted passage. Vizima's walls await, Witcher, but mind the beast within. The city gates creaked open to the temple quarter, a labyrinth of crooked spires and eternal fire shrines, where witch hunters prowled with brands. Triss awaited in her tower, recovered but haunted by visions. Geralt drowning in shadows, a raven-haired woman calling. "Salamandra," she whispered, "they seek La Valette's notes, alchemical secrets." Vincent Mice, the grizzled captain of the city guard, offered alliance, badges to move freely, in exchange for hunting squire-tail squirrels. Elves rebelled, sniping from roofs for their lost forests. Zoltan Chivri, a stout dwarf with a warhammer and a laugh like thunder, befriended Geralt in the Hairy Bear Tavern, swigging beer amid dwarven ballads. Humans breed like rats, elves fade like mist. We're caught in the middle, eh? Politics thickened like swamp fog. King Foltest, Temeria's lion-hearted ruler, obsessed over his sister Ada, cursed Striga since birth, from an incestuous union whispered in courts. Maga the mage botched the pregnancy ritual. The babe emerged a monster, devouring her mother. Foltest entombed her, but guilt gnawed. Now riots brewed. Non-humans pogromed, Order of the Flaming Rose marching in white cloaks, preaching purity against mutants and elves. Geralt balanced scales, help Yevon's squire-tail smuggle arms through sewers, or join Siegfried's order patrol against drowners in the canal. Each path revealed Salamandra's tendrils. Alchemists like Cockstein, a bearded eccentric brewing golems and potions, traded whispers for recipes. A vision struck, Triss screaming as tentacles dragged her under. Geralt raced to her tower. Salamandra, led by Azar Jorvad, the mage from Kaer Morhen, assaulted. Jorvad's eyes burned like coals. "The White Wolf, your mutations will fuel our rebirth." Geralt fought through zealots hopped on Fistek, rescued Triss, but Jorvad portaled away. Bruised, they coupled in urgency, her lips tasting of lilac and gooseberries. Yennefer's scent haunting him. "Who is she?" Triss murmured. Amnesia cracked further. Jin wishes, a green-eyed girl, to breach the quarantine sewers. Geralt chose. Orders Siegfried, honorable knight, wrestling a golem in the canal, or Yavin, agile elf, dancing blades. Sewers reeked of filth and despair. Rats skittered, cockatrices screeched. The beast prowled, hulking striga, adder's form twisted, elongated maw dripping ichor, claws raking stone, red hair matted with gore. Foltest appeared, armored and desperate. End her suffering, Witcher. Coin beyond dreams. But Geralt knew law. Striga's cursed, not killed. Ostrit's journal, bartered from a gravedigger, detailed the ritual. Force her from the sarcophagus till dawn. Third rooster crow. Moonlight pierced grates as Geralt battled. Earthen traps slowing her lunges. Moon dust blinding. Silver blade nicking hide. She battered him, ribs cracking, but he endured, quen flickering. Dawn broke. Striga whimpered, reverting to pale girl Adder, eyes wide with lost years. Foltest wept, embracing daughter. You've given me my kingdom back. Old Vizima lay beyond, ruins choked by plague, haunted by wraiths. Detective work, ransom notes, Golan Vivaldi's dwarf kin kidnapped. Cockstein's quests deepened, runes for his tower, basilisk hides for elixirs. Berenga, the missing wolf witcher, surfaced, broken, tempted by Salamandra's promises of restoring witcher fertility. Geralt confronted him in the swamp, a miasmic hell of fog-shrouded trees, hellhounds baying, noonwraiths wailing laments. Yavin's camp hid rebels. The professor lurked, spectacles fogged. Join us, mutant, power over chaos. Geralt refused, blades singing in rain-lashed duel. Berenga sacrificed, revealing Jorvard's lake hideout, swamp horrors tested limits. Wyvern dives, corpse-eaters swarming. Zoltan and Siegfried, or Yavin, joined assaults on Salamandra outposts, uncovering the conspiracy. Funded by the Order's Grand Master, Jacques de Aldersberg, visionary zealot seeking to rip open the conjunction anew, flooding the world with chaos to purify it through apocalypse. Witchers, bridges between man and monster, threatened his vision. Hence mutagens stolen for perverse rebirth. Back in old Vizima, chapters crescendo. Golem animated by Cockstein's runes rampaged, clay fists pulverizing guards. Geralt inscribed commands, Erden to trap, Ard to topple, subduing the beast. Azar Jorvard awaited in his lair, alchemical fires roaring. Fool! The professor lives, and our master rises. Portal flared. Geralt tumbled to the lakeside. Epilogue's arena, mist-shrouded shores, ancient stones ringing with power. Jacques emerged, armored in white, haloed by divine light, or illusion. Geralt of Rivia, you stand against salvation. Revelations poured. He orchestrated plague, riots, Salamandra. To cull the weak, usher new age. Azar summoned horrors, griffin shrieking, elemental golems, but Geralt dismantled them. Blizzard for speed, tawny owl for vigor, heliotrope absorbing blasts. Jacques shed armor, revealing skeletal form twisted by forbidden magic. Final clash. Signs versus faith-fueled fury. Choices echoed. Order ally. Scoia tail. Neutral. Shaping the arena's guardians, then victory. Jacques laughed madly. See the spheres align. Chaos returns. He shattered a crystal, rift yawning, but Geralt's blade pierced heart. Void beckoned. Amnesia flooded back in torrent. Ciri's laugh, Yennefer's embrace, Rivia's blood. He staggered to Triss or Shunny, depending on heart's pull, boat vanishing into fog. Vizima smouldered, Temeria teetered, but Salamandra crushed, for now. Yet whispers lingered. A girl with ashen hair, elder blood calling across worlds. Those whispers found echoes in the faces around him, allies forged in the crucible of Vizima's strife, each carrying fragments of the truth he chased through shadowed alleys and plague-choked streets. Triss Merigold stood as the first beacon, her presence a warm counterpoint to the city's chill decay. The sorceress of Maribor, with her cascade of chestnut curls and eyes like molten copper, had been more than a healer at Kaer Morhen. She was a bridge to the arcane undercurrents swirling beneath Temeria's surface. Her visions, born of fevered dreams after the bandit assault, painted Geralt's path in strokes of fire and raven wings, urging him southward. In the temple quarter, she operated from a crumbling tower warded by glyphs, brewing elixirs amid stacks of forbidden tomes. Trissa's role extended beyond prophecy. She delved into Salamandra's alchemical web, decoding their fisticular mutations that twisted men into mock witches. Her bond with Geralt deepened in stolen moments, lips brushing in the aftermath of battle, her body yielding to his under silken sheets scented with lilac, a pale echo of a love lost to amnesia. Yet jealousy flickered when Shani's name arose, for Triss knew the medic's pull. Through quests like The Rat or Beauty and the Beast, she dispatched Geralt to harvest mandrake roots from haunted fields or confront the Ripper in fog-veiled alleys, her guidance sharpening his blades against the unseen enemy. Triss embodied the large of sorceress's subtle hand, whispering of king's intrigues while masking her own ambitions, her loyalty tested when Azar Jorved's forces stormed her sanctum, flames licking the walls as she hurled lightning to cover Geralt's escape from her tower's vantage. Triss's gaze often drifted to the Hairy Bear Tavern, where Zoltan Chivi held court like a bearded mountain come to life. The dwarf artisan, his Mahocam-forged axe propped beside a foaming tankard, became Geralt's steadfast companion amid the quarter's rabble. Zoltan's laughter boomed like forge hammers, his braided beard flecked with ale as he recounted dwarven ballads of lost holds and elven betrayals. Exiled from the mountains by Scoia'tael raids that blurred into human pogroms, he smuggled arms through sewers for whichever side paid. Elves one night, guards the next. His moral compass as flexible as his warhammer. In Dwarven Blitz, he dragged Geralt into a brutal tavern brawl against racist thugs, fists and axes flying amid splintered tables, forging brotherhood in bloodied camaraderie. Zoltan's craftsman's eye proved invaluable, repairing Geralt's swords with runic steel, appraising looted relics from the swamps, or identifying Salamandra's counterfeit coin flooding Vizima's markets. His quests wove through the non-human underbelly, rescuing kinsman Golan Vivaldi from ransom, navigating the dwarf banker's ledgers to expose corrupt treasurers like the scheming Thaler. Zoltan's gruff wisdom cut through prejudice. Humans, elves, dwarves, we're all fodder for king's wars, he'd growl, sharing pipeweed by the fire. When the Striga's curse gripped the palace, Zoltan scouted the sewers, his nose wrinkling at the stench, providing moonlight dust bombs that turned the tide. His alliance tilted scales in faction wars, smuggling explosives for the Order or arrows for the squirrels. His loyalty to Geralt unwavering even as Temeria's hatreds boiled over, that hatred simmered hottest in the outskirts, where Shani first crossed Geralt's path, a whirlwind of freckles and unyielding compassion amid the quarantine's despair. The young medic, her apron stained with plague ichor and her red ponytail bobbing as she darted between fevered cots, treated refugees without question, human, dwarf, elf alike. Daughter of a potter and herbalist, Shani's hands were steady with sutures, her voice a balm coaxing life from the dying. She slipped Geralt a rose from her hidden garden, its petals soft against calloused fingers, sparking a romance as tender as it was fleeting. "You've got eyes like a wolf, but a heart underneath," she teased, sharing stolen kisses in her shack while Granny's cat watched with yellow suspicion. Shani's quests anchored the outskirts' chaos, brewing plague cures from the Reverend's poison stores, wrestling zealots in the windmill to seize grain wagons rumbling with tainted loaves. In The Rose of Remembrance, she navigated the hospital's horrors, dodging ghouls risen from mass graves, her scalpel flashing alongside Geralt's steel. Her plea for passage to Vizima's inner walls humanized the plague's toll, escorting nurses through barricades while cultists hurled stones. Romance bloomed fully in her bathhouse haven, steam rising as bodies entwined, her laughter echoing off tiles, a moment of purity before the beast's roar called. Shani's path intertwined with Trissa's shadow, choices forcing Geralt to choose. The sorceress's arcane fire or the medic's earthy warmth, each woman a facet of redemption in amnesia's void. Opposing these lights loomed Azar Jorved, the gaunt spectre whose spectacles hid eyes like smouldering coals, a mage whose intellect warped into fanaticism. Salamandra's arcane fist. Jorvad orchestrated the Kaer Morhen raid with surgical precision, portaling in amidst blizzards to seize mutagens for his twisted rebirth ritual. His lair in Vizima's underbelly reeked of sulphur and fistek vats, where acolytes convulsed into half-formed horrors. Jorvad's taunts dripped venom. Your mutations are but child's play, White Wolf. Witness true evolution. Encounters escalated, from tower assault, where his fireballs scorched tapestries, to swamp lairs bubbling with alchemical pools. Allied with the professor's bandit cunning, Jorvad funneled secrets to the true puppet master, his portals ripping reality's seams. Defeating him demanded precision. Spectre oil on blade, cat potion for shadows, Erden shattering his shields. Yet Jorvad's death unveiled deeper rot, his corpse clutching notes on the Grand Master's apocalyptic vision. That vision pulsed through the Order of the Flaming Rose, white-cloaked zealots marching under a blazing emblem, their steel purified by faith. Born from Templar remnants after Thane's coup, they preached eternal fire's wrath against mutants, mages, and non-humans, monsters within and without. Siegfried of Denessel embodied their honor, towering knight with a great sword like Judgment's edge, wrestling golems in canals or patrolling druid groves against drowners. His quests demanded fealty. Join us against the elven filth, leading patrols through sewers teeming with basilisks, his mace crushing chitin. The Order's cloister in the quarter buzzed with inquisitors branding heretics, their rhetoric fueling riots. Burn the witches, purge the squirrels. Yet cracks showed. Corruption in ranks. Grand Master Jacques de Aldersberg's hidden heresy twisting purity into genocide. Siding with Siegfried locked paths. Force recon in murky waters pitting knights against Yevon's ambush. Steel clashing in rain-soaked fields. Across the divide prowled the Scoia'tael. Squirrels to humans. Elf commandos in leaf camouflage. Arrows whispering death from treetops. Led by Yevon Pasilak, silver-haired exile with a recurved bow and unquenchable fire, they struck supply trains, assassinated collaborators, dreaming of Ainside restoration. Yevon's camp in the swamp concealed ballistae and alchemists brewing elven fire. His quests smuggled refugees through caves, ambushing Order patrols in visceral firefights. Humans stole our world, reclaim it with blood, he'd hiss, eyes gleaming. Teruviel's band in the fields raided farms, blurring freedom fight into terror. Non-humans suffered doubly. Dwarves like Zoltan caught in crossfire, halflings fleeing pogroms, elves herded into camps. Temeria's non-human struggles peaked in riots. Order massacres at the non-human camp, Geralt mediating or spilling blood. Ramsay's thugs torched homes. Vincent Miser's guards turned blind eyes for coin. Choices rippled, aid Yevon's, free the elves, sabotaging gallows, or Siegfried's, exterminate vermin, torching squirrel hides. Neutrality carved a bloody middle, escorting diplomats, exposing both sides' atrocities. Jacques de Aldersberg crowned the antagonism, the Order's Grand Master whose saintly facade masked a zealot's abyss. Robed in white, haloed by illusory light, he preached salvation through the Conjunction's return. Chaos flooding to cull the unworthy, birthing a new man funding Salamandra via laundries like the bankrupt Vincent. He unleashed plague as judgment, riots as purification. Berengar, the fallen witcher, whispered his temptations. Fertility restored, mutations godlike. Lakeside Climax unveiled his skeletal truth, faith warped by elder blood rituals. Yet even villains humanized. Jacques' final ravings echoed genuine despair at the White Frost's approach. These threads, Triss's visions, Zoltan's hammer, Shuni's rose, Jorvad's portals, Siegfried's oaths, Yevon's arrows, wove Vizima's tapestry, pulling Geralt towards swamps where rivers converged and destinies clashed. As those swamps receded in memory's haze, swallowed by the inexorable pull of time and tide, Geralt found himself adrift once more, not in fog-shrouded waters, but iron-barred cells deep beneath La Valette Castle. Vizima's victories felt like distant thunder, for King Foltest had summoned the White Wolf as royal bodyguard, a shield against shadows lengthening across Temeria. Yet shadows struck swift. Accused of regicide after a banquet massacre, Geralt awoke chained in the dungeons, the clank of manacles his only company. Foltest lay dead, strangled by a Witcher impostor, his body twisted amid banquet ruins, the court whispering of betrayal from Kaer Morhen itself. Geralt's medallion thrummed faintly, protesting the lie, but proofs eluded him in the gloom. Escape ignited in screams echoing from above. Nilfgaardian invaders breaching the walls, black-armored knights with sun banners crashing gates like avalanches. The La Valette heir, Arian, a lithe knight with aristocratic sneer, unlocked Geralt's cell amid chaos. Fight with us, mutant or rot. Blades drawn, they ascended blood-slick stairs, hacking through soldiers whose halberds gleamed like scythes. In the great hall, chandeliers swung wild as arrows whistled. Geralt's signs flared, Ard toppling foes in heaps, Igni searing banners to ash. Arian dueled beside him, rapier flashing, but sorcery twisted the air. A massive golem of bone and clay lumbered forth, fists pulverizing marble. Geralt dismantled it with rune commands bartered from old allies, blizzard potion blurring his steps to dodge crushing blows. They reached the battlements, where Baroness Louisa La Valette rallied archers, her gown torn, eyes fierce. A dragon's shadow passed overhead. Seralina? No, a Kay ran later, but freedom beckoned via hay carts below, cushions breaking their plunge into the moat. Vernon Roche emerged from the melee like a fox from underbrush. Temeria's blue stripes captain, mustachioed and wiry, his scarred face etched with guerrilla cunning. Leader of the special forces, Roche despised Nilfgaard's empire as much as he distrusted sorceresses pulling king's strings. "You're no assassin, Witcher. I saw you fight," he grunted, hauling Geralt from muck. They fled through war-torn fields, blue stripes sniping black cloaks from tree leans, crossbows cracking like whips. Roche's loyalty proved iron, sharing campfires where he revealed Foltest's death, strangled by Letho of Gulet, a viper witcher with serpentine eyes and a neck like a bull's, hired by Emhyr var Emreus to destabilize the north. "Nilfgaard plays the long game," Roche spat, passing flask of dwarven spirit. "Emperor wants puppets on thrones, kings dead, lodge sorceresses twisting survivors. Alliance sealed in blood and necessity, they pressed to Flotsam, a ramshackle port on the Ponta River, perched on stilts amid Eden's frontier bogs, where smugglers hawked wares under sagging roofs. Laredo, the corrupt commandant, ruled with iron fist and lecherous grin, taxing refugees fleeing Kedwen's hordes. Geralt's medallion sang here, drawn to a dwarven forge where Zoltan hammered steel anew, his beard singed from kiln fires. But Flotsam hid curses deeper than its pilings. Villagers whispered of a midnight beast devouring fishermen, eyes glowing like forge coals. Roche tasked Geralt with scouting, leading to the Kayran, a colossal sea serpent, tentacles thick as oaks, lashing from misty depths. Brewing Kayran oil from its glands, harvested mid-battle, acid sizzling flesh. Geralt lured it with traps of harpy eggs, earthen glyphs anchoring writhing limbs as steel bit deep. Victory brought loot, a fisherman's silver ring pulsing magic, and Roche's nod of respect. Yet Flotsam fractured along old lines, scoia'tail arrows pinning black cloaks from eaves. Iorveth, the one-eyed elf commando with scarred visage and recurved bow, led the squirrels, fierce exiles striking Nilfgaard's supply lines, dreaming of elven resurgence. His band camped in fog-veiled woods, leaves camouflaging ballistae loaded with fire pots. Paths branched here, choices carving Geralt's fate like a sculptor's chisel. Side with Roche, infiltrate the Kedweny garrison, sabotaging siege engines under Colonel Natalie's nose, blue stripes ambushing patrols in reed-choked shallows. Laredo's brothel raid exposed his treachery, smuggling dwarven refugees to Nilfgaard slavers, culminating in fiery assault, harpies screeching as rafters burned, Laredo fleeing with pants aflame, dot or embrace the squirrels. Iorveth's scarred eye gleamed with wary trust. "Human Witcher, prove your hate for the Black Ones." They rescued a dryad grove from Kayran's spawn, arrows and signs felling Erechaz drones in chitinous sprays. Iorveth's tails burned, elves herded like cattle, forests felled for empire timber. Sabotaging Roche's camp turned brutal. Blue stripes felled in moonlight ambushes, tents aflame. Either path converged on the Sphinx atop ruined tower. Triss Merigold ensnared by the beast's riddle-laced curse, her form bound in arcane webs. Geralt solved enigmas. What walks on 4 legs at dawn? Unleashing her gratitude, lips fierce in reunion kiss, hinting at lodge machinations. Deeper intrigue uncoiled with Stennis, heir to Eden, hiding in Flotsam under Loredo's protection. Peasants rioted, accusing him of royal griffin poisoning. Carcass rotting in square, maggots feasting on regal flesh. Geralt investigated. Elf arrows tipped with royal blood toxin, framing Stennis to spark rebellion. Roche urged arrest. Iorveth, protection. Interrogation split. Torture Loredo's lieutenant for confessions, fists crunching bone amid screams, or diplomacy with villagers, exposing false evidence. Truth pierced. Letho orchestrated, viper witches. Letho, orcs, Serit, slithering through shadows, assassinating to pave Nilfgaard's conquest. Climax erupted at the elven wedding. A dryad rite in haunted woods, garlands of nightshade swaying as fiddles wailed. Scoia'tael danced with refugees. Iorveth toasting fragile peace. But Nilfgaard struck. Kairan tentacled horrors summoned, black knights charging. Geralt fought dual front, saving Triss from drowning in river shallows, or shielding Iorveth from harpy swarms. Letho revealed himself atop cliffs, hooded silhouette against storm. White Wolf, your meddling delays the inevitable. Duel postponed. He vanished with captive Triss, portal ripping air like thunderclap. Roche or Iorveth pledged aid, paths diverging to Loch Muin's looming spires. Memory flickered amid carnage. Foltest's banquet, Letho's chokehold masked as Geralt's shadow. Amnesia cracked wider. Ciri's ashen hair flashing, Yennefer's violet gaze piercing fog. Flotsam's flames lit the way forward. Alliances forged in choicest fire leading to Sorceress's summit, where kings bargained and empires hungered. Those flames from Flotsam licked the horizon long after, fueling the march northward through Eden's war-ravaged heartlands, where Roche's blue stripes or Iorveth's squirrels carved paths through enemy lines like knives through fog. The Pontus swelled with corpses, Kedwini soldiers in grey tabards floating belly up, their king Henselt's banner trampled in mud. Temeria splintered, Foltest's death a domino toppling realms. Nilfgaard's golden sun crept from the south, black legions swallowing borders like ink on parchment. Geralt, medallion warm against his chest, pressed on, Triss's absence a hollow ache, her screams echoing from Letho's portal. Whispers of Loch Muin drew him, a ruined elven city reborn as diplomatic nexus, spires piercing thunderheads where sorceresses schemed and kings bartered thrones. Roche's path wound to his fortified camp, tents huddled amid scorched earth, blue stripes sharpening blades by cookfires. Vis, the squat sergeant with a perpetual scowl, grumbled over stew. Henselt's lot rapine and pillagin, we hit 'em hard at the mist. The mist cloaked Vergennes, a dwarven stronghold perched on Ponta's eastern bank, its forges belching smoke like dragon breath. Saskia the Virgin, dragon knight hybrid with scales glinting viridian, rallied non-humans, elves, dwarves, peasants, against oppressors. Her visions of unity inflamed hearts. Zoltan Chivri hammered alliances in her hall, axe propped like a scepter. But curses festered. The rose of remembrance bloomed in haunted fields, spectral petals luring wanderers to wraithly doom. Geralt delved rose-choked barrows, shielding against thorny lashes, blade-hewing phantom vines until the crone's spirit yielded secrets. Henselt's army ensnared, ghosts feasting on frozen souls. Iorveth's trail twisted through guerrilla ambushes, elves melting from trees to loose arrows tipped with dwarf-forged poison. Vergennes welcomed them as liberators, Saskia's gaze appraising Geralt. Witcher, your blade sings of old pacts, stand with us? Chapter's pulse quickened in the arena. Percy Wetwick, scheming dwarf merchant, hosted gladiatorial bloodsport under the guise of Unity Festival. Harpy swarms darkened skies, ending in champion bouts. Geralt's signs clashing against berserkers, crowd roaring as Igni charred flesh. But treachery brewed. Stannis Blaviken, Henselt sorcerer, toad-faced and scheming, unleashed Kaeran spawn in sewers, tentacles flooding tunnels. Geralt navigated the deluge, harpooning beasts amid gushing torrents. Emerging to confront the king himself, Henselt of Kedwen loomed like a storm cloud. Bearded colossus in spiked plate, runestone etched with ravens, his temper a forger's blaze. Cursed by the rose's mist, naked and raging, he accused Geralt of witchery until the witcher lifted the hex, earning wary respect. Mutant, prove worth. Fetch my general Deathmold's missing eye from the wilds. Quests spiraled. Scouting Kedwen camps where soldiers diced over elven ears, sabotaging ballistae aimed at Vergen, or delving the mist for ancient elven ruins pulsing with megascope energy. Choices fractured alliances. Frame Stennis for griffin poison in Flotsam? Expose him as tyrant, peasants hanging him from gibbets, or shield his claim, igniting riots. Roche urged Temeria's remnants to seize Eden. Iorveth dreamed elven sovereignty under Saskia. War crested at the Battle of Brenner's Shadowfields. Henselt's host clashing with Eden's levies, pikes splintering, catapults hurling naphtha that lit night infernal. Geralt turned tides, infiltrating enemy lines as ghost and mist, assassinating commanders with Seret-style viper strikes, strangler wire whispering death, or rallying Saskia's forces with dragonfire from above. Deathmold's portal magics warped battler lines, summoning ensregs, crystalline horrors shattering on impact. Victory's cost mounted. If Stennis framed, his head rolls, Eden fracturing. If spared, Henselt claims it, blue stripes betrayed. Saskia's rise or fall hinged on Geralt. Poison her chalice with Wetwick's toxin? She withered, scales blackening, or thrive, chalice pure. Non-humans cheering her as queen. Paths converged at Loch Muin's gates. Elven grandeur cracked by human ambition. Colonnades veined with gold. Agora thronged with delegates under truce banners. The summit. Kings Henselt, Demavend of Eden, if alive, and proxies for fallen realms gathered in Philippa Eilhart's amphitheatre, sorceresses lodge pulling strings from shadows. Triss, tortured for portal secrets, languished in Deathmold's cells, her screams haunting Geralt's dreams. Roche scouted under city tunnels, or Iorveth freed elven prisoners, both unveiling the lodge's web. Philippa, owl-transformed schemer, Anis, veiled enigma, Cynthia, ambitious youth. Their goal, manipulate thrones via Ciri's prophecy, elder blood to birth a ruler binding north against Nilfgaard. Intrigue thickened as Geralt infiltrated the summit disguised, blue stripe uniform or elf rags, eavesdropping on bartered borders. Henselt bellowed for Vergen. Demavend countered with Ponta rights. Assassins slithered. Letho and vipers struck mid-parley, Seret's blade felling Demavend in spray of arterial blood, orcs garroting guards. Chaos erupted. Delegates fleeing as crossbows twanged. Geralt pursued through colonnades, when deflecting bolts, clashing with Letho atop crumbling balustrade. Emperor's pawn, why puppets? Letho sneered, bull-rush charge met by whirlwind spins, medallions clashing like thunder to dragon's roar shattered stone. Saskia, freed from lodge control by Philippa's megascope megaspell, wings blotting sun, flames raking the agora. She rampaged, tail coiling towers to rubble, riders tumbling. Geralt mounted harpy-torn cliffs, brewing dragon oil, earthen traps grounding her dives as silver bit scales. Roche or Iorveth aided, stripes ballistae piercing wings, elves fire arrows igniting underbelly. Saskia crashed, reverting to human form. Philippa's thrall broken, chalice poison purged if Geralt chose wisely. Lodge scattered, Triss rescued from pyre, her body charred, lips whispering, Ciri, safe. Letho's revelations poured in prison depths, viper unmasked. Imhere var Emrius, Nilfgaard's golden emperor, my liege. Foltest dead to fracture north. Demavend next for Eden vacuum. Lodge complicit. Philippa sought Ciri, Loradoran's heir, to breed Mage King dynasty. Prophecy foretelling White Frost's end via elder blood. Sorceresses play both sides. Nilfgaard tool till opportune betrayal. Geralt spared or slew him, choices rippling. Kill Letho, vipers rampage freely. Spare, he aids final stand, Nilfgaard's invasion crested. Black legions cresting hills, sun banners vast as skies, catapults darkening day with boulders. Loch Muin burned, Henselt slain by spectral assassin, Deathmold's backlash, his claim crumbling. Eden's fate sealed by summit blood, Stennis crowned if peasant riots quelled, his tyranny birthing rebellions. Henselt's conquest if Witcher-backed Kedwen, Virgin annexed. Saskia's queendom if dragon lives, non-human realm rising amid flames. Roche rallied survivors for guerrilla war, vowing Temeria endures. Iorveth vanished into woods, squirrels harrying flanks. Triss, convalescing, revealed Lodge's hunt for Ciri. Geralt's daughter by destiny, pursued across spheres, epilogue branched. Nilfgaard triumphant, Imhir's shadow lengthening, or North holds, fragile alliance forged in pyres. Geralt departed Loch Muin's ruins, medallion guiding south. Kaer Morhen called, Ciri's trail warming, war's embers kindling greater storms. Years blurred like mist over the Ponta after Loch Muin's pyres cooled. Empires redrawing maps in blood, while Geralt and Vesemir rode hard for Kaer Morhen, the old keep stones whispering welcomes laced with dread. Ciri's trail burned hottest there. Ashen-haired girl, elder blood pulsing through veins, her visits marked by scorched hearths and laughter long faded. Yennefer's ravens had come first, violet-eyed sorceress commanding from afar. She's been here, wolf. Wild hunt on her scent. Spectral riders tearing veils between worlds. Vesemir's eyes, weathered as ancient oak, scanned snow-draped battlements. Bootprints too small, a swallowed message half-burned. Kaer Morhen safe? Hunt close. But safety shattered in blizzard's howl. Eridan's wild hunt. Elven wraiths on skeletal steeds. Portals ripping skies like parchment. Eskel and Lambert fought beside them. Blades flashing against frost phantoms that chilled steel mid-swing. Ciri fled deeper into mountains, leaving Geralt a silver sword etched with warnings. Find me before they do. Trails led south to White Orchard, Temeria's cradle now Nilfgaard's foothold. Apple blossoms trampled under black-booted patrols, thatched roofs smouldering from pacification. Geralt and Vesemir tracked through rain-lashed fields, medallions thrumming near a Nilfgaardian outpost where Ciri had clashed guards, her sword Ziriel shearing armor like silk. Tavern tales spilled, green-eyed witcheress sparing soldiers, vanishing into woods pursued by hounds. But peril struck swift, a royal griffin, armored beak snapping, talons raking earth as it dive-bombed the village. Vesemir baited it with chum trails. Geralt brewed grapeshot bombs, climbing windmills for vantage. Enhanced with superior draconid oil, his silver blade carved through wyvern-thick hide, Ard blasts staggering dives until the beast plummeted, wings crumpling in orchard mud. Looted armor, griffin feathers, mutagens glowing like captured stars, fueled upgrades, but Vesemir's cough deepened, age's toll unyielding. Nilfgaard's captain, dusty from marches, offered uneasy aid. Nilfgaard honors witches, track your girl, but swear fealty? Geralt's path forked. Help villagers torch a deserter's barn, flames leaping like vengeful spirits, or interrogate the blacksmith's elf wife, her tears revealing Ciri's flight east. Vesemir parted here, bound for sorceress's council. Yen's gathering allies. I'll rally the old guard. Alone, Geralt crossed the border into Velan. No man's land, war's festering wound where Redanian banners flapped ragged over gibbets swaying with crows' feasts. Swamps choked the horizon, will-wisps luring fools to drowners' lairs, hanged men's ghosts wailing from trees. Ciri's signs littered the mire, scorched ghoul packs, portal's ozone reek. Crow's Perch loomed first, fortified on stilts amid peat bogs, ruled by the bloody Baron. Philip Strenger, bloated knight with scarred face and mead-soaked breath, his greatsword Reunion propped like a scepter. White Wolf, hunt my wife's ghost, or my girl Tamara. Baron's quests unfolded in layers of grief and gore. Anna Strenger, golden-haired once, now spirit haunting the keep's ramparts, her translucent form begging release. Geralt exorcised her with spectre oil and earthen traps, but truth clawed deeper. Anna fled Crow's Perch with lovers, pregnant by botched lover's tryst, birthing Tamara amid abuse. Beren raged, beating her senseless. She miscarried a son, fleeing to Oxenfurt with daughter, tracking led to the Pella, blind seer in rain-lashed hut, his runes dancing like fireflies. Crones weave fates, girl passed through Crookback bog, marked by their claws. Beren's desperation peaked. Fetch 'em back, Witcher, coin, title, my soul. Wieland's horrors mounted, fiends crashing through underbrush, necks snapping like whips, noonwraiths keening harvest laments, scythes reaping flesh. Geralt delved the Baron's past. Botched hunt for a midday bride, spectral white lady cursing him with blood visions. Freeing her demanded midnight ritual, horse blood circles, relic oil on blade, culminating in fevered duel amid lightning cracks. Keira Metz entered like a perfumed gale, sorceress exiled from lodge intrigues, holed in mid-copse hidden cave warded by golems. Raven-haired temptress in azure silks, her laugh tinkled like glass. Geralt darling, still chasing ghosts? Once Triss's rival, Keira's quests sparkled with ambition, summoning the Midnight Bride's ghost for Beren, her portals flickering unstable. Plague maidens in the tower, harvest their hearts for cure? Geralt scaled plague-riddled spire, miasma choking lungs, shrieking crones hurling pus bombs. Rewards tempted, diagrams for whirl, her bedchamber yielding passionate nights, curves yielding to calloused hands. But betrayal lurked. Keira hoarded a viral cure, scheming to sell to highest bidder, Nilfgaard or Redania, choices carved scars. Expose Kira's greed, forcing her flight to Radovid's pyres, or bedevil her with false promises, claiming cures for Wieland's orphans. Beren pleaded onward. Bog's heart, find my Anna. Crookback bog festered deepest, orphanage of twisted limbs where children gnawed bones under crone's gaze. Weavis, Wispis, Brewis, hag sisters with filed teeth and spider limbs, stewing in flesh pots. They nursed Anna, botching her pregnancy into spider birth, soul shard shattered. Geralt bartered with the devilish trio, golden aureole for immunity to their toxins, freeing the spirit tree where Anna hung, limbs thorn-wrapped. Ritual demanded precision, feast of lies, where crones gorged on Beren's offered heart, metaphoric or literal. Illusions shattering to reveal Tamara's Oxenfurt life, rejecting her father's brutality, reunion tore like rot. Beren weeping over Anna's ravaged form, birthing a changeling horror slain in mercy's blade. If spared, he vowed reform. Slain, his men rampaged, perch aflame. Kira's path intertwined, cure real or feigned. Wieland's orphans saved or sacrificed. Ciri's trail warmed, crones cackled. Ashe's last danced here, Hunt's horns baying. Portal-scarred bogs, leading north to Novigrad's spires, but Wieland's weight clung like swamp mud. Beren's tragedy a mirror to Geralt's dread. Family fractured, wars devouring innocence. Wieland's scars faded into the horizon as Geralt spurred Roach northward, the mare's hooves splashing through rain-slicked roads toward Novigrad's distant spires. Redania's glittering jewel, a labyrinth of canals and crooked alleys where gold flowed freer than the Pontar and secrets festered like open sores. The free city pulsed with false prosperity, merchant galleys unloading silks from Ophir, eternal fire temples belching incense to mask the pyre's smoke, beggars clawing at nobles' hems amid fishmongers' cries. Ciri's trail ignited here. Yennefer's raven had perched on his saddle, beak clutching a note. Marigold holds clues. Hunt closes. But Novigrad seethed under Radovid V's shadow, the red-headed king whose paranoia birthed witch hunts, his fleets blockading coasts while inquisitors branded mages as devil-spawn. Triss Marigold awaited in a crumbling attic above Passiflora's rose-scented halls, her auburn curls dishevelled, freckles stark against pallor from constant flight. Exiled sorceress, lodge survivor, her eyes lit with desperate fire. Geralt, Ciri passed through. Wild Hunt scorched the docks pursuing her. Disguised as a seamstress, Triss orchestrated underground networks. Mages huddled in cellars, non-humans smuggling via sewers. Her quests unveiled the city's rot. Kingfisherin's hidden shrine to Liliane, where drowned lovers' ghosts wailed for release. Spectre oil and Erden pens trapping their keens until Triss's incantation freed souls. Romance simmered, candlelit whispers turning to fevered embraces, her curves pressing against scarred muscle, breaths mingling lilac and sweat. "We've lost too much," she murmured, nails raking his back. But urgency pressed. Triss begged aid, evacuating mages before Radovid's net tightened. Witch hunters prowled like wolves, crimson tabards emblazoned with flame fists, led by zealot Kingslayer, the scarred fanatic whose sermons frothed from Hierarch Square's pulpit. "Burn the abominations. Eternal fire purges chaos." Pyres dotted canals, mages' screams harmonizing with gulls' cries. Geralt infiltrated their ranks, medallion disguised as holy relic, quests exposing their hypocrisies. Carnal sins in the orphanage, where hunter novices cavorted with forbidden lovers, ghosts of violated girls haunting alcoves. Earthen circles and moon dust bombs revealed truths, forcing confessions amid spectral wails. Choices carved paths, exposed the sinners to Kingslayer, bolstering hunts and dooming Triss's flight, or blackmail for safe passage. Mages slipping aboard Zerrikanian ships under cover of fog. Radovid's madness crowned the terror, the relentless king ensconced in Redania's palace, his throne room a gallery of flayed sorcerers' skins, ravens pecking at eye sockets. Paranoia gnawed him post-assassination attempts, lodged daggers glancing off wards, turning allies to ash. Giant duel raged on frozen shores, Jalma's hammer clashing club, Geralt dodging avalanches, climbing ribs to sever hamstrings till the colossus toppled, ice cracking like thunder. Yennefer's divinations deepened. Yen's megascope scried Ciri's portals, Hunt's riders materializing in squalls, elven King Eridan's frost-armored form glimpsed on waves, hounds baying otherworldly howls. Their bleeding worlds, white frost follows. Skellige clashed culturally, pagan rites at Freya's shrines, blood eagles carved in devotion, clashing Yen's pragmatic sorcery. She thwarted Berna's regicide plot, illusion spells turning assassins' blades inward. Election climaxed in Thing Assembly. Cerys exposed Svanridge's fratricide via Seeress vision, Jalma yielding honorably. Crowning under Auroras, Cerys vowed unity, Skellige's longships to rally against Hunt. Battles etched scars. Fire giant on Pharaoh, magma veins pulsing, clubs swinging tidal waves. Geralt's shielding as Igni met Inferno, blade-seeking eyes. Siren queens often Skellige, choral lairs bubbling hymns, necks snapping under harpoon grapples. Ciri's trail burned brighter, her Ziriel left embedded in a forktail skull, Hunt's frostbite victims babbling of ashen girls slashing portals. Yennefer's hand clasped Geralt's atop battlements. Kaer Morhen next, armies gather. Isle's sagas swelled with White Wolf's deeds, mead horns raised to absent kings and coming storms. Yennefer's grip tightened like a vice forged in starfire, her violet eyes locking onto Geralt's as gulls wheeled above Ard Skellig's battlements, their cries mingling with distant longship horns signaling Cerys's coronation fleet. Kaer Morhen calls, wolf, the hunt gathers shadows there. Ciri's blood sings across the spheres. We end this. Portals flared under her command, swirling violet voids swallowing them whole, spitting them onto Kaer Morhen's snow-swept ramparts where Vesemir's silhouette stood etched against torchlight, his ancient blade drawn. The keep, once a bastion of witcher trials, now bristled with unlikely banners. Roche's blue stripes fluttering beside Skellige longships beached on frozen Gwenlek, Triss's arcane wards glowing blue along battlements. Allies converged, Zoltan hammering barricades with dwarven fury, his warhammer ringing like a death knell, Eskel and Lambert sharpening silver swords by the hearth, scars from Hunt skirmishes fresh, Kira Metz, if spared, weaving golem guardians from cave stone, even Letho, the viper exile, brooding in shadows if Geralt's mercy held, his serpentine gaze appraising the fray, but the true spectre loomed beyond the mountains. The wild hunt, not mere wraiths of folklore, but the dirge Ruodri, red. Riders of the Ain El, elven conquerors from Tir Narlia's frost-veiled realm. Eridan Breek Glass, their king, rode at their van, tall as a spire, armor of blackened ice and elven silver, antlered helm shadowing eyes like frozen sapphires, his sword Knave Dare humming with world-rending hunger. The Ain El, wild elves untouched by human plagues, viewed the continent as a barren prize. Portals their steeds, frost their breath, hounds spectral beasts phasing through flesh. Exiled from their dying world by the white frost, a glacial apocalypse devouring realities, they sought conquest, slaves for their armies, queens for their bloodlines. Ciri's elder blood, Loredoran Xiodhal's legacy, was their grail. Gene of the ancients, weaving space-time like thread, birthing daughters who could stabilize portals, usher armies across spheres. Ciri's powers terrified even Yennefer, Lara's heir, trained at Kaer Morhen's sword and signs, but unlocked in desperation. World walking through monoliths, violet rifts swallowing foes, telekinesis hurling armies like leaves, foresight glimpsing frost-shattered futures, elder speech incantations, shattering mountains. She's a weapon, Eridan had snarled in scryed visions, his host chasing her from Skellige shores to Velan bogs, tearing veils that bled blizzards onto fields. Avalokach, the Ain Savehern sage, manipulated from shadows, elf advisor to kings, his web spun across worlds, promising Ciri salvation if she yielded her womb. Hunt raids scarred the land, frozen corpses in White Orchard, portals scarring Novigrad docks, spectral Bargus haunting Skellige fjords, portals backlash spawning ice wraiths that drained life with chilling claws, preparation fevered Kaer Morhen's halls, Vesemir brewed potions in cauldrons bubbling with mandrake and Echimera hearts, superior blizzard for hunt speed, Echimera decoction healing mid-frenzy. Yennefer and Triss, or Kira, attuned to Keep's ancient megascope, a crystal orb pulsing prophecies. Ciri cornered in a desert sphere, Hunt closing like wolves. Roche drilled blue stripes in anti-cavalry pikes. Jalma's Skelligeus roared sea shanties, axes thirsty. Zoltan rigged ballistae with draconid bolts. Lambert's cynicism cracked. Fancy elves on ghost horses, let's see their blood freeze. Eskel's calm steadied nerves, his scarred jaw set. For the cub. Battle erupted at dusk, horns wailing like damned souls. Hunt portals yawning black against purple skies, riders materializing in frost gales, steeds' hooves sparking ether. Eridan's vanguard charged. Hounds phasing through walls, riders' swords trailing icy wakes. Geralt leaped ramparts. Whirlwind a silver cyclone cleaving phantom armor, Quen shattering on elven blades. Vesemir flanked, cat potion blurring his strikes. Old bones still bite. Allies shown, Roche's crossbows punching rider chests, bolts exploding in runic fire. Jalma's hammer pulping a knight's helm, brains freezing mid-air. Zoltan's ballistae skewering mounts, elves tumbling to impale on pikes. Yennefer's portals redirected charges, dumping riders into abyssal voids. Triss's firestorms melted frost shields, screams harmonizing with wind waves crested. Carantha, Eridan's ice mage lieutenant, gaunt in crystalline plate, wove blizzards that flash froze Skelligeus mid. Swing. Geralt countered with igni walls, blade oiled with hanged man's venom corroding his wards. Duel atop battlements, telekinesis clashing ard blasts, ice spears shattering stone. Hunt barges warped in, archers loosing arrows that homed like spectres. Lambert fell back, wounded. Eskel covered, Cooney sword beheading a rider. Portal breach widened. Eridan himself manifested, Knave dare sweeping in arcs that rent reality, glimpses of shattered worlds flickering. Frozen tear Nalya, frost-devoured cities. "The girl is ours, he bellowed, voice echoing infinities. Allies' bonds held the line. Letho's viper poisons felled hounds' foaming ichor. Kira's golems pulverized riders into paste. Roche's grenades, dwarven black powder, blasted barges splintering like galleons. Yennefer sealed rifts with elder speech, blood dripping from bitten lip. Lara Doran's spite endures. Ciri's flare pierced the melee, a violet slash from mountain mists, her Zerial carving a portal, voice cracking. "Popper! They're too many!" Geralt roared countercharge, allies surging, Jalma's war cry rallying, Zoltan's hammer felling Carantha's steed. Eridan retreated through rift, Hunt dissolving like smoke, but cost mounted. Vesemir pierced by rider lance, crumpling in Geralt's arms, final words gravel. "Protect, our girl." Keep smoldered, snow-stained crimson, portals echoes whispering multiverse threats, white frost loomed. The prophecies' heart. Cosmic cataclysm, spheres colliding in eternal winter, devouring life from Tyr Noliar outward. Ainel fled it, conquering to outrun. Ciri's blood could halt it, or unleash prematurely. Avalakach's missive arrived via portal. Come to Tyr Noliar, Witcher. Save worlds, or doom them. Multiverse frayed, spherescape glimpses. Desert realms of golden pyramids, swamp worlds teeming kikimores, frozen tundras birthing frost giants. Hunt's incursions destabilized. Portals spawning higher vampires into Sont, less hens warping forests into labyrinths. Ciri's flight scarred continua, her powers accidental keys unlocking gates. Grief-fueled resolve. Vesemir's pyre lit under auroras, allies swearing vengeance. Yennefer's portal beckoned to elven realms. For him, Wolf. End the Riders. Kaer Morhen's defense bought time. Bonds unbreakable. Elder Blood's fire-kindling final war across veils. Grief's forge tempered Geralt's resolve as Yennefer's portal hummed to life once more. Violet energies coiling like serpents toward Tyr Noliar's shimmering veils, but fate's threads snagged on earthly lures. Contracts whispered in Novigrad taverns, visions haunting Skellige seers, drawing the white wolf into shadowed tales that tested soul deeper than steel. First came Oxenfurt's fog-shrouded alleys, where a beggar's plea summoned Gaunter Odom, the master mirror, a man whose yellow eyes gleamed like tarnished gold, voice smooth as oiled venom promising impossible feats. 3 wishes, Witcher, for a price, he crooned, gaunt face cracking smiles that chilled marrow. Geralt's medallion screamed warnings, but curiosity, and a painter's tormented soul, bound him to the pact. Olgierd von Evrek entered like a storm wind, immortal noble in tattered finery, his fiery mustache framing lips curled in aristocratic scorn, von Evrek estate crumbling under curse. Once Ophir's dashing cavalier, Olgierd summoned Odom, then the man of glass, to win Countess Iris's heart, trading his soul for revelry unending. But mirrors trapped his humanity. Unable to feel joy, love, or death, he wandered as wraithly brigand, his immortals gang terrorizing Velan roads in coach ambushes, scimitars flashing under moonlit masks. Geralt's contract: steal Olgra's soul from Odom's grasp via 3 trials, win a gloved fistfight in a dwarven brothel brawl, fists crunching jaws amid spilled vodka, best a house of ill repute's cards rigged by devilish luck, axii bending dealers' minds, retrieve a violet rose from haunted manor where time looped in eternal autumn, wraiths of Olgierd's betrayed brother Vladimir clawing from paintings, their duel replaying in bloodied loops until dawn's ritual-shattered glass illusions. Deeper. Delves unveiled Odom's web. Master Mirror, Gaunter of the Glass, caretaker demon whose realm was infinite mirrors reflecting sins, pacts devouring souls like flies in amber. Olgierd's wedding replayed in spectral splendor, guests feasting on illusions, Iris veiled in tears, culminating in riddle duel atop windmill. What can bring back the dead, make you cry, make you laugh, make you young, is born in an instant, yet lasts a lifetime? Memory, Geralt guessed, shattering Odom's hold, freeing Olgierd to age and die in brother's arms, rose wilting to dust. But victory soured. Yennefer glimpsed in mirrors, her soul snared if Geralt faltered, a temptation to claim her freedom over Olgierd's. Hearts of stone etched mortality's bite. Deal's glitter hid despair, Odom's laugh echoing as Geralt rode forth, mirrors cracking in his wake. Toussaint beckoned next, a duchy of eternal spring where grapevines heavy with Chateau d'Yonne spilled over hills like emerald waves, Beauclair's spires gleaming white under perpetual sun, knights tilting in tourneys amid perfumed air. Wine wars raged beneath. Duchess Anna Henrietta's court dripped intrigue, her raven locks and emerald gown framing a temper sharp as rapier, mourning lover Damien de la Tour's murder by her sister Cyanna. Geralt arrived as guest of honor, medallion thrumming near vampire lairs hidden in opulent cellars. Contracts bloomed, Bruxa shrieks haunting vineyards, necks snapping in blood mists, higher vampires phasing through moonlight, Katokan's leathery wings blotting stars, their bloodlust a symphony of guttural roars, vampire lore unfurled in shadowed cabarets. Detlaf van der Eretian, the beast of Beauclair, ancient higher vamp with bat-like form and claws rending steel, lover to Cyanna, disgraced royal banished for poisoning suitors. Her ribbon curse, admitting only ribbon-bearers to eternal masked. Balls in Cursed Isles Regis, Geralt's erudite ally, bald vampire sage with philosopher's drawl and fangs retracted by will, revealed truths in herbalist chats. Vampire's hierarchy, Catokans as feral guards, Bruxy seductive assassins, Archaeospore blooms birthing fungal horrors. Regis's tale pierced, fledged immortal in 13th century, experimented on by mages, beheaded yet reforming, now Toussaint's physician masking bloodthirst with mulled wine, quests cascaded. Tournament victories atop destriers, lances splintering shields for Henrietta's favor, beast hunts delving Tez Hammutna's flooded fortress, ghouls swarming in torchlight, Detlef's roars shaking foundations. Cyanna's path twisted through lace hail, floating isles of eternal revelry, unseen elder lurking in cavernous depths. Colossal you are vampire, ebon-fanged progenitor whose single glance petrified armies, wings enfolding like night itself, voice rumbling prophecies from millennia's slumber. Bargains with the elder spared lives, unveiling Cyanna's ribbon saga. Childhood ribbons binding deadly games, her vengeance scripted in blood, climax tore Beauclair. Detlef rampaged, wings casting eclipses, claws eviscerating guards in arterial fountains. Geralt pursued through skies, harpoon grapples reeling the beast earthward, silver blade, oiled with vampire oil, seeking hearts amid regenerating flesh. Choices rent hearts. Slay Cyanna, Henrietta's grief birthing eternal mourning. Reconcile sisters, duchy healed in tearful embrace, or let Detlef feast, vampire lord unchained in immortal rage. Regis's fate hinged too, slain by Odomess echoes, or surviving to toast with Geralt under vineyard moons. Toussaint's beauties masked beasts within, expansion's mirrors reflecting witcher soul, Pax perils, blood's allure, fleeting joys amid eternal hunts. Toussaint's vines clung to memory like reluctant lovers as Geralt spurred Roach northward once more, the duchy's perfumed haze yielding to the continent's grim sprawl, where white orchards stood barren under frost-kissed skies, Kaer Morhen's pyres still smouldering in the soul. The wild hunt's portals yawned wider, Eridan's riders bleeding realities into one cataclysmic fray, but beneath the clashes of steel and sorcery pulsed the saga's true marrow. Choices, not fates, carving the world's bone. Moral ambiguity defined the White Wolf's path. Every contract a scales tilt, every alliance a potential betrayal. Slay the fiend terrorizing Velan peasants, only to learn it guarded their crops from worse horrors? Aid the bloody baron, redeeming a brute or enabling his tyranny. Expose Kira's cure-hoarding greed, dooming her to Radovid's flames, or let her profit, orphans withering in plague's grip. Witcher 3's web ensnared over 1,000 decisions, branching narratives like elder roots. Side with Roche's guerrillas or Dijkstra's spies in Novigrad, Temeria's remnants rising or crushed under Nilfgaard's boot. Crown Cerys in Skellige for Unity's fragile peace, or Jalma's endless raids fueling clan wars. These forks echoed Andrzej Sapkowski's books, where Geralt's neutrality masked deeper ethos, lesser evil amid greyer shades. Games amplified it, honor systems invisible yet omnipresent, deeds rippling across acts. Help the tree spirit in Crookback Bog? Crone's orphanage spared, Anna's changeling mercy killed humanely. Betray it? Bog blooms with children's screams, Baron's reunion poisoned. Novigrad's underworld, kill Whoreson Jr., gangs fracture into petty bloodbaths. Capture him, Dijkstra's torture yields Ciri clues but stains hands with complicity. Skellige's trials, poison Saskia's chalice, dragon falls, non-humans scattered. Purify it, Virgin rises as beacon. Expansions deepen the knife's edge, Olgierd's soul. Free him, live with Pax echo. Claim it, mirrors haunt dreams eternally. Toussaint's sisters, reconcile, duchy thrives in tearful embrace. Avenge, Henrietta's grief births vampire apocalypses or tyrannical isolation. Endings crystallized consequences, 36 permutations for Ciri's fate alone. Geralt's epilogues hinging on her arc high honor. Support her independence, confide fears, yields triumph. Ciri thwarts White Frost, vanishing as Witcher Wanderer. Geralt retiring to White Orchard with Yennefer or Triss. Roach grazing peacefully. journal closing on quiet hearths. Medium paths. Ciri survives but broken, fleeing to desert realms, Geralt solitary, medallion gathering dust. Low honor, scorn her doubts, prioritize self. She unleashes frost prematurely, perishing in Eridan's grasp, Geralt slain atop snowy cliffs, Yennefer's wail echoing voids. Continent's future warped accordingly. Ciri Empress? Nilfgaard dominates. Imhir's iron rule homogenizing realms. Witcher? North unites loosely. Eternal skirmishes. Death. Frost creeps, spheres shatter in apocalypse, Geralt's twilight's varied. Romance with Yen culminates in desert idol, stargazing amid ruins. Triss, Oxenfurt Academia, lectures laced with passion. Solitude if both spurned, White Orchard Farm, Dandelion's ballads his sole company. Expansion's echoes lingered. Olgierd's curse unbroken? Haunting coach sightings. Detlaf unchained? Toussaint bleeds eternal night. Sapkowski's universe, grounded in Slavic folklore, elves as faded tyrants, humans as barbaric upstarts, expanded exponentially. Books conjunction birthed monsters, games vivified them, drowners gurgling ambushes, Leshen's root traps, fiends blind charges, procedurally rich, Gwent minigame weaving cultural tapestry. Lodge's machinations deepened, Philippa's owl schemes, Sheila's betrayals. Ciri's prophecy, sketched in short stories, ballooned into multiverse odyssey, Avalok's millennia plots, fleshed from footnotes, legacy towered. Witcher trilogy redefined RPGs, choices illusion perfected, world reactive, not scripted. Novigrad's alleys shifted with Radovid slain or enthroned. Skellige Jarls hailed or cursed the wolf. Book's cynicism, Destiny's farce, monsters in every mirror, infused gameplay. No heroes, only survivors. CD Projekt Red honored Sapkowski's grit, adding fairy tale horrors, Hearts of Stone's master mirror as Rumpelstiltskin Redux, while innovating vampire ecologies, Unseen Elders' primordial roar. Continent endured post-credits. Imhir's empire creaks, Lodge fragments, monsters resurge. Geralt's tale closed, but echoes lingered. Jack Marston's cycle anew? Games birthed Netflix saga. Comics, tabletop, universe blooming like elder blood portals. Moral grays eternal.